How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Papa Powell going on the microphone. Papa Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This your boy TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Yo, what is up, people? We're here, locked and loaded. Well, we're not, I guess, because the lights are not on. Alexa, lights on. Alexa, lights on. There we go. Now we're locked and loaded and we're ready to go. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of this week. We are ready to talk about all things that happened on the market today. How did my day go? How did the market move? What opportunities were there? How can we take advantage of the opportunities that came out from today? Will there be opportunities tomorrow? So all things day trading, October 25 prep. I'm here, your host TraderPrad. Strap in your seatbelts. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I see we got a bunch of people in the chat already. TH, Barkit, Dieter, John Vaughn. How you lads doing? Let me know how you guys did on the day today. I know Dieter has been absolutely killing it. Let's go, Dieter. It makes me so happy to see that my boys are slaying. Dieter having one of his best months ever. Not a single red day for Dieter this month. Let's give it up for Dieter, y'all. Let's give it up for Dieter. Shout out to my boy. Everyone else was killing it to Dieter. Shout out to you also. Let's continue smashing this month. This month's not over yet, and so far the opportunities have been juicy. So let's head over to the full screen, talk about some of the trades that we have planned for tomorrow. Names that start with earnings, obviously. A couple stocks that reported earnings today after hours. WDC, basically the only one I care about. Skechers and Coursera also will be thrown into the watch list just in case they give us some trades. I see that Barkit is asking for DXCM, Dexcom, which also reported earnings today. And ON, if I remember correctly, ON is a semiconductor company. So potentially, if there is a move on those names or a good trade setup on those names, I will add them also to my watch list. But yeah, we'll talk about them for our good friend Barkit. How about instead of starting with WDC, which is what I had planned because it was our top of the leaderboard for the names that reported after hours. Let's start with our comment section with DXCM, because we do have COUR already on the watch list, so we'll get to that one when we get to it. But right now, let's start with DXCM. If earnings whispers board is accurate, then this stock just reported earnings today, and looks like, I mean, that's a very good pattern on the daily chart. On that previous earnings report, we actually gapped down. So on this previous earnings report, the stock actually gapped down, but now on the most recent earnings report, which came out tonight after hours, expecting some sort of a potential retracement opportunity or more downside. Let's go take a look at the stock's earnings report using our good friends at Benzinga. If you are interested in using this amazing platform that Benzinga that we use every single day to read earnings reports on, check the links below in the description. Why is that camera so far that way? Camera so far that way. Okay, DXCM reported quarterly earnings of 45 cents per share, beat analyst estimates of 43 cents per share. Meh. Quarterly revenue came in at 994.2 million, beating the estimates of 990.71 million. This is an increase over sales of 975 million from same period last year. So a decent increase, not a lot, small increase. Dexcom also announced Terry, Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer, will retire at the end of the year. Will continue as a special advisor through 2025. New chairman and president CEO will assume leadership of the commercial organization as the company conducts a global search for new chief commercial officer. Third quarter results were in line with our expectations as our team responded quickly to the business dynamics that emerged earlier this year. We made significant progress over the quarter to drive improved execution, leaving the company on track to continue on our momentum in the fourth quarter and into 2025. Dexcom affirmed its fiscal 2024 sales outlook of between 4 billion to 4.05 billion. And that's about it. Don't really see anything to compare it against. Not really even sure what Dexcom does. I'll be honest with you. Ooh, wrong button. Not even sure what Dexcom even does, to be honest. So what is this company? Health technology, medical specialties, previously not paid dividends. Okay, that's not what I was looking for. Medical device company which engages in design, development, commercialization of glucose monitoring systems for ambulatory use by people with diabetes. Ooh, maybe that's why this company has taken such a big hit. I guess, what is it? NVO, Ozempic, and ever since all these companies have come out, DXCM has potentially lost a lot of money from it. Its products include Dexcom G6, G7, Stelo, Share, Real-Time API, and Dexcom One. The company was founded by John F. Bird in 1999 and headquarters in San Diego, California. Wow, okay, so it looks like I actually knew about this stock at one point because I had this put down. Potentially when it last reported earnings, I might have taken a look at the stock on the earnings report day, but never really decided to do anything with it. Here we are right back. It looks like the report was somewhat decent, right? Let's see if the market actually appreciates that report. Looks like not really. A little bit of a sell-off came into Dexcom. At this point, I mean, the answer is pretty simple. It's either under over 75 for me. We have a couple peaks over here above 75 into 77, 77. Okay, 7777. So going into 77, let's just round it up to $78 to $80, right? Round it up to $80. There's a $5 move potentially into $80 on a break above 75 off this earnings report. But if the stock cannot find buying above 75, potentially not really a stock to be long in tomorrow. You might want to be a little careful looking long on this name past 75 if it's not being held on the bid. So I'm just gonna throw it on the watch list with a low priority name, because how Tesla moved today, and this is potentially something that I'll be saying a lot today, so be ready for it. This might annoy you, so if it does, I apologize. Okay, if it does annoy you, I apologize. But what I'm gonna say is, with how Tesla moved today, the biggest move Tesla has had since IPO, apparently. I haven't done the math, but for a fact, the biggest move Tesla has had in a decade. In a decade. So shout out to Tesla. I wish I bought some YOLO option calls on my own account and absolutely smoked it. My paper trading account is rich right now because of my YOLO options calls on Tesla. But boy, oh boy, I wish I just YOLO'd on that one option call today. That would have been so much money. That would have been insane amounts of profits. Oh well. DXCM, 75 under over. That's the first level. If we do get above 75, I think that 77, 78 to $80 pocket comes into play. And then potentially you can see a reject from there back down to 75. Maybe if it holds above 78. Maybe it holds above 80, then you got an even bigger room all the way back up. There's a big gap fill over here for it to play out. But that's the main gameplay over there. Next stock that reported earnings today, actually you had another name, ON. ON didn't really report earnings. This is ON Semiconductor, as I remember it. They report earnings in 4 days, so I'm not really sure this is a name that you want to focus on as a day trade. As a swing trade also, if this is not something that you have already gotten into, if you are long at the moment at $66 or something, you would potentially want to put your stop under $60, under this triple bottom that the stock has had, even maybe a little bit lower if you want to give it that risk. But what is your target at that point? Are you really targeting back into $100? There's so many questions over here to be asked right now that I cannot answer for you, because sadly I'm not a financial advisor. So if you're asking in a swing term investment type of opinion, I don't have one for you. And as for a day trade, I guess we'll talk about it in 4 days when it actually reports earnings. So no reason to waste time on that name for today. Deleting some of these markers. Let's actually delete all of them. Wash, garbage. Next stock, Western Digital, WDC. Ooh, that's what I like to see. Western Digital actually making a nice little pop up here to the north side off the earnings report, reclaiming last month's high. Shout out to WDC. Let's go to the daily chart here, where every single candle's information is 1 day's information. Is that that is, so I already have that marked up. I don't really need to have a level marked up again. Maybe if we do have a gap fill on a potential long, that will be juicy to keep an eye out for. I'll mark up this little level here real quick in case we do get a little crazy tomorrow. You know, if things get a little wild tomorrow, maybe the stock does have room to all the way into $80 off of this earnings report. But for now, we are seeing some juice being poured into WDC, as we have just gone back into last month's high and holding above last month's high. So that's a pretty easy level to keep an eye on. It's around $71. The earnings anchored VWAP is coming into $71. You have last month's high at $71.50. So into $71.50 to $71. If the stock goes somewhere here and then drops right off the open and bounces off of this area, that is a potential long right there that you can look for. Back through $71.50, get long, and potential room into 73, and then maybe even a swing trade into $80 if the report is good enough. So let's go read the report, see if there is actual validity for our theory that we just formulated for a trade idea. WDC, how did you report on earnings? Ooh, don't like seeing miss in the title ever. Especially after having such a bullish theory. Let's continue reading. Where is it? Earnings 1.78 per share, beating estimates of 1.73. Revenue 4.09 billion, missing estimates by 4.12. Okay, barely. Who cares? Represents an increase over sales of 2.75 from the same period last year. Come on now. Come on now. Cloud revenue increased 17%, representing 54% of the total revenue. Okay, so most of the money is going to the cloud revenue. The increase was driven by higher nearline shipments in hard disk drives and enterprise solid state drives. Bit shipments to data center customers. Okay, client represented 29% of total revenue compared to last quarter. Flash bit shipment growth in gaming and mobile was offset by a decline in PC OEM, while hard HDD revenue was flat year over year. An increase in flash revenue was primarily due to higher ASPs, not sure what that is, as bit shipments declined and was primarily offset by lower hard disk drive revenue. Customers represented 17% of total revenue. A slight growth in hard disk drive offset a decline in flash driven by softer consumer demand. Year over year, the decrease was due to lower flash and HDD bit shipments, partially offset by improved pricing. So from what I am seeing over here, they are not growing as much in the customer side, but the clients and the cloud side is basically offsetting everything else for them and kind of taking over. So the cloud sector, which is something that they are really facilitating, I guess, is benefiting them in having such a big revenue beat on a year-to-year scale. So shout out to them on that side. Western Digital performance in the fiscal demonstrates a commitment, blah 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 blah, bunch of words. You got some buzzwords over here, AI being mentioned. So what's the outlook like? Second quarter revenue in the range of 4.2 to 4.4 billion versus 4.35 billion. Adjusted earnings per share 1.75 to 2.05 versus 1.95. So lower, the higher end is barely above the estimates on both sides. The higher end is barely above the estimates on both sides, but the lower end is fairly below the estimates. So not really a fan of seeing anything like that anytime. So I guess you could say it's within range. Overall, though, you're seeing a big beat from same period last year. So that's basically the main story, I guess, as to why Western Digital is making such a nice pop over here. Let's see if there is continued growth on this position after holding above 71.50. The longer it stays above 71.50 tomorrow, the easier the long is, in my opinion. And if we open higher, pulls back into 71, pulls back into 71.50, and just rips right back through to the north side after touching that level, I'm ready to look for a long from that area. So 71 is where earnings anchored VWAP is, if I remember correctly. $71.16. I'm just gonna round it down to 71, and that last year's high, so last month's high, it is 71.43. I'm just gonna put 71.50. Watching this one without a doubt, especially if it has elevated volume in the pre-market, which I suspect it will. DXCM, we just talked about that. That wasn't even on our watch list. The next one is SKX Skechers. SKX Skechers. Usually one that I don't like day trading because it's a very low liquidity name and chops around a lot, but I think in the after hours it made a decent enough of a pop over here for us to potentially keep an eye on. Moved right into last month's high and then flushed a little bit back to the downside. If the stock can find support, get back above earnings anchored VWAP, maybe there's a long over here to keep an eye on, but the priority on SKX tomorrow will be very low. So I'm not even going to put any levels on my watch list for SKX. I'm just going to color it blue, see how the stock trades in pre-market, and then potentially see if there's a trade for me to even think about. I'm not too interested about this stock at the moment. Here's a better name that I think all of us could be watching and have a monster setup coming into play. COUR. This stock flushing into its all-time low, right into $6.35, maybe even breaking the all-time low off of this earnings report. So let's go read how bad the report is and then prepare for a potential trade opportunity. Looks like it actually broke the all-time low, went as low as $5.55 in the after hours, made a pop after that $5.55 low, walked back into $6.75, but then kind of closed back into $6 over here on COUR. So pretty bad report, I guess, for a stock to make this type of a reactionary move. Let's go find out why. I want to go to the 1 minute real quick, and I want to put it off of that. Okay, so clearly a very reactionary move over here. The market's at all-time highs and COUR is breaking all-time lows. What's going on? Let's go find out. Shares are trading lower after the company reported, no shit, we just saw that. Reported earnings of 10 cents per share, beating estimates of 2 cents, okay. Quarterly revenue came in at 176 million, beating estimates at 173 million, okay, 174 million, we'll take it. An increase over same period last year of 165 million, that's an increase, we'll take it. Consumer revenue up 3%, same period last year. Including recent 54% of the revenue compared to 52% of the revenue a year ago. Enterprise revenue up 10% from a year ago, driven by growth in the business, campus, and government verticals. Total numbers of paid enterprise customers up 19% from a year ago, or 70% of the enterprise revenue compared to 68% from the same period last year. Degrees revenue was up 15% from a year ago, scaling on a recent program launches. Segment gross margin was 100%, sorry. Degrees revenue, as there is no content cost attributable to the degree segment. The total numbers of degree segments reached to 26,400, up 29% from a year ago. All these numbers looking great, so why the hell did the stock get absolutely destroyed? In the third quarter, we demonstrated strong progress across Coursera's learning ecosystem. We allowed 10 new partners and launched more than a dozen industry micro credentials, many of which teach emerging skills in generative AI. Okay, not bad. Outlook, Coursera sees fourth quarter revenue between 174 million and 178 million versus 186 million. So quite a bit of a miss over there for the next quarter. Company lowered its fiscal 2024 revenue outlook from between 695 to 705 to a new range of 690 to 694. I guess it's not that big of a drop, but they did lower it quite a bit, and that caused the stock to have such a big reactionary move. I mean, look, year to year, they're growing, right? Year to year, you're seeing growth on the company. Every single side that I'm seeing, customer, consumer, enterprise, degree, everything is up. Only thing that we're seeing is missing slightly is the I guess not slightly, the next quarter's revenue is quite a bit of a miss. And the full fiscal year revenue is also quite a bit of a miss. They're guiding lower, and that caused this big of a reaction. See, this is why I keep reminding myself and everybody else that I am not an analyst, right? Reading earnings reports are great. Reading a report like that for a struggling company like Coursera, you would think, hey, okay, maybe it's cheap enough and people would start buying it, but I guess it's not good enough for people. Company, I guess, still does not make money. Really? I guess they're making, I guess it does not make money. 10 cents, 2 cents. I guess they're not profitable yet. So, still struggling. I mean, if you ask me, I personally have used Coursera before in my life, and I was a big fan of Coursera. But at the same time, I guess Coursera is not doing as much as what some of the other companies are doing, like Brilliant.com or any of these YouTube advertisements that have that keep going on. Brilliant.com. I can't remember any other ones right now, but there are a few other websites that do pretty much what Coursera does, teaches you in a fun way. I'm not sure if the Brilliant.com does degrees also, but Coursera, you can actually get a degree out of it, almost like you went to a real university. Like you can get it from Harvard, from Berkeley, from a bunch of credible universities. You can actually get a credible credit university degree sitting at home and doing the work yourself on the computer at home. So good idea, a good concept. It just, I guess, didn't really work out in the amount of revenue that they're gonna bring in, and it just ended up being a fail that way. Man, this is sad watching this company fail in such a manner. But right now, all we can do is play with the variables given to us. If the stock is continuing to stay below the previous all-time low, it's got to be looked as a short for me. But if the stock is managing to stay above the previous all-time low, then maybe there is an opportunity to look for a long. I will be looking for some sort of a SSR long setup. I think this stock just fell 20% after hours, 14. It says 15.96% at the time of the report, which was 526. If I remember correctly, some articles have said it dropped 20% or something. So anywhere 15-20%, it's going to open up SSR. If I see a strong enough of a bid, a big buyer showing up at some price, I think there's going to be an opportunity to really look for a big long tomorrow on Coursera. Not saying that it'll give you a full retracement back to the north side, but I'm expecting at least an opportunity where you're risking very little for a very big move. So you're going to be risking maybe 1 or 2 cents at the very best because of the price of the stock. It's like a $5-6 position, right? You're going to be risking 1 or 2 cents at the very least, and you're going to get 20 to 30 cents out of that risk, very quick reward out of it, and enjoy that monster risk to reward position out of it. So going to be looking for that opportunity where I think it's going to be right off the open if it sets up, most likely off an even dollar price, or even right off the pre-market low around $5.50. If we go back into 550, I'll be very patient to see how the stock plays out into that level. If you start breaking below 550 after a report like that, I mean, wow, what's really going on Coursera? People hate this company in that case. And that is basically the stocks that report after hours. There are a bunch of other companies that report tomorrow pre-market that I don't really care for. Colgate is something that I do care about. It's something that I have day traded before. Maybe if it does do something in the pre-market, I will put Colgate in the watch list. Is Colgate at all-time highs? Okay, maybe. I like this consolidation that it's got going on. The daily chart's not that stupid looking. So maybe if Colgate does do something fun tomorrow in pre-market, I'll keep an eye on it. But right now, okay, you know what? I'll just throw it in the watch list. See how it reports in pre-market, and then I'll play it from ear over there. Right now, I'll color it in the high priority too, because the stock actually does decent volume for a 30-day average, but it's just a boomer name. It's like, oh, come on, like Tesla is gonna be moving tomorrow. Are we really going to be putting our energy trading like Colgate? Tesla is going to be doing more crazy stuff, either a pullback, running up higher. It just had a biggest day ever in its life. So I'm expecting Tesla to be the only opportunity to keep an eye on tomorrow. And speaking of which, that is the next name that we're going to be taking a look at. Tesla. I guess it is Tesla because they're in Texas, right? I think Texas is their headquarters now. So Tesla a monster move, 21% to the upside, going back into a triple top almost. So let's see if we can break out of this triple top and go a little bit more crazy. 300 coming into play after taking out this 270, 260 areas. Or do we get stuffed back from this area and push back down is the question. So watching patiently. This is a monster move today. You know, I think anytime Tesla has had such a monster move, I guess it does continue. It did continue. I would need to do a little bit of back testing for it. This little run up was monstrous. Back to back gap up days and run up days. So that was monstrous. Expecting something like that would be a little crazy potentially. But we did say Tesla had a decent earnings report and we were pretty bullish about it. So how did we trade it in that case? I actually traded it pretty well in my opinion. I could have done way better obviously. I started off with looking for a quick short scalp out of 250. That 250 gave you a little scalp, but it had already stopped me out before I got the scalp out of it. Later on in the day, I had to fight for the long a little bit. I had to get in and out a couple times. I was being careful for it because I don't want to get burnt by the 250 area. Eventually, I got back in at the 251 and I was able to ride that win all the way up to 254, 255 or so. Later on in the day, I was able to get some easy scalps, shorts from 260 into 259, get $1, get 50 cents, get 50 cents, get 50 cents, and then I flipped long for a nice $2 run up over here on Tesla. Could have obviously done way better. You know, you could have captured the whole move and been a legendary day trader, but we're not at that level yet. You know, you got to play at the level that you're at and work on getting better. The way that I plan on working on getting better is making, you know, writing up 3 of the stocks that I traded today: Tesla, Funware, and Zena, because I really underperformed on these names. Even though today was one of my best days in a really long time for a momentum trading, for day trading, I'm not really that happy as I should be. And really, I should not be happy at all because I shit the bed. There was so much money on the table that I left. I could have had a way bigger day today. So, little annoyed by that. So, I'm obviously going to write some of these stocks up, starting with Funware. Monster short. I actually scaled up on the short, took more shares than I would have usually because it just checked off all the boxes. Got my first entry. My second entry on the pop and fail. My third entry on the pop and going lower. So I take that breakout again. But I start really chickening out of most of my size as it starts to work for me. Instead of, you know, taking some exits, locking in some profits, and seeing if there was a bigger move. And guess what? There was a way bigger move. And for the amount of size that I pushed into this trade, had I actually let the stock play out the move that it gave, oh my god, 838. And I was short, what, 12? Yeah. $32% in a day short. Risking 50 cents. I got $3.04. I didn't get it, but I would have gotten it. So pretty annoyed by this. Going to have to write quite a bit about it. Stock basically gap closed after having what we keep talking about, right? Monster run-ups, no reason to have a run-up. We're looking for that big failure short. The big failure short sets up, and what do we do with it? We shit the bed. We were short 12, and we don't cover in the right way, in the right manner, where profits could have been really banked on today. So pretty sad about it. Pretty sad, honestly. I'm very annoyed. Here's a SPY trade. SPY broke the low a day, popped back, and rejected right at yesterday's VWAP. So rejecting right at yesterday's VWAP. We were holding above yesterday's VWAP this whole time. We break down below today's low, which was also yesterday's VWAP. We pull back and then we reject around yesterday's VWAP. So I got short, took some profits into that little consolidation area. I was watching closely to see if the market would have a real sell-off to potentially add more size. That sell-off didn't come, so I took some profits and then I put a hard stop in just in case this market does reverse back, and it does reverse back. So I just walk away from the market. Short idea. So nice little quick short idea on the market. Xena, small cap name. We kept talking about this company, Flash Research. I mean, I am in love with this app at the moment. Flash Research, awesome app. Check it out. My link, my affiliate link, I should be. Where can I? How do we post that? If I get my affiliate link again. There it is. Go check out this link, especially if you are into trading small cap. So Xena, ooh, wrong button. Xena, only gapped once, and it gapped on the 11th of this month. Gapped on the 11th of this month. And how did the stock trade? Gapped up, struggled in the pre-market, opened, popped up a little bit higher, got back into the day's open, and then struggled around the day's open, and then just started selling off lower, started selling off lower, started selling off lower. Okay, I understand. So how does the stock set up today? Basically does the same thing. The stock gaps up, runs up in the pre-market, struggles a little bit in the pre-market, opens, has a little bit of a pop, but then gets back under today's open. So I'm short, adding on the short, adding on the short. Sadly, the move that I'm looking for comes way later. At that point, I'm already out of the trade. I capture a quick 20-30 cents of profit, but they gave you way more profit if you were looking for it. So I traded to the best of my ability, but some of these people that I idolize on Twitter, Nathan on Investors Live, some of these people that I idolize and that I want to emulate, I mean, they trade these names way better than me. I mean, look at his PHUN trade, right? All the way loaded up in pre-market from 13. I only had 12. Loaded up into 13, capturing a move into 9, and I'm sure they captured more move back into $8 after the stock popped back up into 1050 and struggled into 1050. Or maybe this was a struggle into 1050 and potentially rode it right back into that 850 area. So monster trader, people that I idolize, people that I look up to, and I really psychoanalyze their charts. How did they trade? What did they do? And how can I emulate? If they did it, why not me? If they could do it, why not me? How can I do it? What did they do that is different from what I did? And how can I do that next time? That's all it is. That's all day trading can come down to. See who's doing better than you and try to be better than them. Not like, you know, you're trying to beat the master or anything, but just try to be better than who you were a couple days ago, even maybe a minute ago, right? Improve 1%. QS, I know I said I wouldn't trade the stock unless it actually started trading above 650. That was my main criteria. Stock started going higher in pre-market, started going lower in pre-market, but opened up, rallied into 650, and started holding above 650. So I'm like, okay, fine. Let's look for a long punch more, get some out into this flush, get some back, but then that flush really got stuffed back, so I dumped that position. Possibly could have flipped back short on the failure to hold 650. That gave you a 50-cent clean swipe right back down, and then $6 held on QS. Potentially a day 2 trade could be given tomorrow, but we'll see. UAL 75 did not hold. I should have flipped short. I was debating to flip short, but I saw UAAL looked pretty bullish. At least I only looked at it for a quick second. AAL looked pretty bullish, so I said, I don't really want to flip short. I'm pretty bullish on UAL. I don't want to flip short, so I did not flip short. But hey, the idea was right. Under over 75, we opened and ran above 75 and failed. Then we tried to take 75 again and failed. That is an easy money short that we talked about, and it walked all the way to $73. You didn't even have to risk much. You could have gotten 74.80, you could have gotten 74.70, you could have gotten 74.90. Hell, you could have gotten 75.30 if you wanted to. So, you know, you could have had the right price as long as you were looking for the trade, and monster opportunity, a $2 trade opportunity to the downside on the UAL short. Sadly, I didn't want to be short at all. But yeah, those are my trades on the day. Shout out to Funware because of how much I sized into it. Maybe there's this theory. It's not a theory, but it's more like a fact. There's this fact in the stock market that if you don't take enough size on a trade, you will hold the trade longer than you should have because you're not happy with the amount of money that you're making on that said trade. So if you don't have enough size on the table for your appetite, you will hold the trade longer than you possibly should have. If you now have more size for your appetite, now you will start taking more profits than you should have. So in my case over here for Funware, I believe that was the story. I had way more size than I technically should have maybe. I was really confident in the trade, and even if I did get stopped out for the full size, I wasn't really losing more than my maximum allowed risk on a stock or symbol. So technically I was risked appropriately, but even then I took more size than I usually put on a symbol. So Funware, it was like an exponentially bet trade, higher bet trade, and because of that I started taking profits way quicker than I should have. So you gotta always find that median spot, the balance level of being able to understand where your risk tolerance is. How do you get to the point where you are trading the right way? If you're not trading the right way, maybe size down a little bit. If you're trading if you're holding your stock more than what the stock and the chart is giving you, and you're not happy with the amount of money that you made, maybe that's a sign that you need to size up. So that's a little bit of a tip over there on how to deal with sizing, especially using an example as my garbage exits on Funware. So need to find the right balance. Maybe had I not taken that entry right there, I would have traded the stock way better. Who knows? I'm only playing with 500 to 1,000 shares. How do you mentally increase what you bet? It comes with, honestly, I'm not the right person to talk about because I'm still at the spot where I'm battling to increase my own size, right? So today, as you can see, I increased my size on a trade and it didn't really play out in a way that it should have, because I didn't trade the trade. I traded my PNL. I traded my money that I was making on the trade instead of trading the trade itself. I completely ignored all my exit rules and all my exit variables. So in that case, increasing shares mentally was not a good thing for me. It's always come down to basically, how did you trade the trade? Did you trade the trade according to your exit rules? Did you get emotional? If you get emotional, why did you get emotional? How can you cancel that next time that it happens? So making a mistake here, whatever, it's fine. Let's not try to repeat that mistake. And then that's why I'm going to catalog all those three trades, Xena, Tesla, and Funware, after stream tonight, and really hammer those trades into my head. Speaking about Tesla, I mean, anything is possible at this point. Today was a monster day one, so ideally I would like to see the stock pull back into today's VWAP, which is right around 250. 252.50, all the way to the earnings anchor VWAP, which is coming into $250, which is also the volume point of control from the whole day, $250. So ideally, if the stock pulls back anywhere from 252 to 250, I don't want to see Tesla getting below it. If Tesla can stay above it, there's a monster long opportunity over there. The higher Tesla goes though from here, there could be some sort of a short scalp being setting up, because this is a monster move for Tesla. I don't think you're getting another 7% move tomorrow on Tesla after this type of a move. But hey, I could be wrong. Let's see if I am. Last month's high is 265. That one rhymed. I like it. Last month's high is exactly 264.86, but last month's high is 265. I'm just rounding it up a little bit. Potentially we get a break and a run past today's high into last month's high, and a fail break above last month's high, and then a stuff right back down into, let's say, 255 or so, somewhere into this range over here. That could be an opportunity for us to get short. So a fail break of 265 area, look short for opportunity to 255, and then maybe you can flip long from 255 back into 260, where I expect the stock to potentially end the day at. Rubbing my little Nostradamus balls over here, putting my prediction hat on. What the hell happened to that? That image got so small. That's hilarious. I didn't know I moved that box and it got so small. Anyways, putting on my Nostradamus prediction hat on as to where the stock will most likely end up tomorrow. But I got some ideas and some permutations as to how the stock could set up for a trading opportunity. QuantumScape. Ideally, don't want to see the stock below $6. That's today's low. That previous candle high was 625, so 625 to 605, you don't want to see the stock getting below that price point if you are looking for a long. So keep an eye on it. I think there could be a potential day 2 setting up on this one for us to ride right back into $7 as long as we stay above this key level that I just mentioned. GEV. Monster breakout on GEV, a hidden breakout on GEV, 6.12%. I think in the pre-market, the stock, when the earnings report actually came out, it had flushed down, but eventually turned back around on the regular trading hours and actually made a pop. I ignored that pop. I thought, okay, probably has no substance behind it because the report actually wasn't that good. So for example, here's the earnings report move. Let's actually throw in the earnings anchored VWAP at this point because of this move. So originally flushed down off the report, went down to last month's high, found support off of last month's high in the pre-market, reclaimed previous day's level on the earnings day, and then big breakout today, up 7%, 6%, $17 move on GEV for a stock whose ATR is $8, probably $6 realistically. But after today's move, the ATR has gone up, so potentially a stock that we all have to keep an eye on tomorrow. This is the stock that recently spun off from GE, a stock that spun off from GE. That's the IPO anchored VWAP, and look at that, never really looked back after touching 150. Monster move up to $300. So that is potentially a level, a psychological price point that the stock could have a little bit of a barrier into. Keep in mind, very low liquidity stock, not expecting a lot of volume opportunity to be played out. I'll be patient. Even if 300 breaks, it could slip and go past 300 to 301, 302, and you could lose more than you were previously intending to on a name like this if you're looking to short 300, or even if you're looking to get long through 300 and 300 ends up being a fail break, it could easily drop back down to 297 in a flash as the spread opens up. So you want to be careful trading a name like this, but I will be watching it for some sort of an opportunity into this $300 area as we are marching right into that price point. Next stock, GM holding very well right now above this little marker that I have set up right into $52.40. I guess today's low 52.50, yesterday's low 52.50 also. So let's just say 52.50. Okay, let's just say 52.50. If GM can stay above 52.50, I think if market has a green day also, GM potentially has a very easy long right back into $54. And especially if we get a big day on the market, GM could even get through 54 and keep going higher. GM's ATR is only $1.50, so ideally I want to see the stock into $54 already in pre-market, showing us some battle of 54 and then a breakout of 54 with some volume and some strength behind it for us to look long. Pull back and holds above 54 for us to add to the trade and then enjoy the run up for the rest of the day. Or we get a breakout of 54 and then a fail break of 54 for us to potentially flip short if we did take the breakout long, take the flip short and then enjoy the right back down to $52 if that sets up as an opportunity also. So GM $52.50 to $54, and the longer we consolidate in this area after recently reported earnings, the more fun we can have with this name. Next stock, 3M. 3M, we talked about that 130 under over yesterday, and the stock gave you a monster short below 130. Today we didn't really get a move all the way to 130, sadly. 129 is all you got, but all the way back into yesterday's low picture perfectly and gave you a 50-cent bounce off of that low. I think I actually traded that low, I just didn't show you guys. It gave you a 50-cent bounce off of that low. I got about 30 cents off of it. It gave you a 50-cent bounce off of that low. I think watching that low is potentially not the dumbest call. Look to see if 126 continues to hold, but the priority of the trade is very low. It's not something that you'll be watching right off the open. It could be something that sets up right off the open, but it's not something I'm going to be watching right off the open tomorrow. So 3M 126, see how that one sets up. It's under over 126 basically. Lockheed Martin, LMT, very close to a big level where the stock basically held above, and also going into previous earnings anchored VWAP 561 to 560. So if LMT can find some support into 561, 560 tomorrow on like 15 minutes, 30 minutes pattern, stay above 560 for 30 minutes or longer, I am more than happy slipping in a bid at 561. Give it $1, give it a $2 risk from there, and see if I can get lucky and get a quick $5 scalp, $10 scalp as the stock ranges between that $5, $10 area, and get a lucky bounce as the stock has flushed quite a bit. Big flush from 600 to 560 on this name on the daily chart. So any relief balance off of today's lows or going back into 560, 561 on LMT, I want to be prepared for that opportunity. OKLO did exactly as I thought it would do today. Went back into 19, actually went a little bit back above 19, went to 1950, but still managed to pull back and find some opportunities into 1750, 1760. So that opportunity is setting up even better. The longer we trade into this level but don't really get below it, the day we do get below it, that opens up the floodgates on OKLO like how it did on PHUN today. So very closely watching how this opportunity sets up. Do we open up the floodgates and we start flushing down, or do we continue holding above 1750 on this name? NNE is in the basket too, but it actually pulled back quite a bit already, so not really as interesting in the basket. And the other one in that basket is SMR, who is now looking bullish. Previously, this was looking very bearish compared to the other two when they were looking bullish, but now this is looking bullish compared to the other two while they are looking bearish. I guess it makes sense, however, because this was the one with the actual news catalyst behind it. These guys have the Amazon deal, they signed it, so it makes sense that they're a little bit more bullish than the other two as the sympathy names are dying out a little bit. the main name is showing some real strength still. So potentially watching this one as it marches back into $20, either a breakout above 20 or a stuff back below 20, or we get stuffed back below 17 for us to see if we can start moving back down on this position. So today's low 17. Actually, what is yesterday's low? Yesterday's low was 1674. That low is 1671. So maybe I'll just draw that line over there into that price point. So let's just say 1670. 1670 and then 2035 on watch for SMR. IonQ, I haven't really traded this name at all, so I'm not the best person to kind of guesstimate as to how the stock moves. But you know, idea is still the same. It's a little overextended. It's going too crazy. Once the stock actually starts showing you a little bit of change and characteristics, I think we'll be ready to hammer the short. Basically, for example, you want to watch PHUN, how it's set up for a short opportunity. The same one as TIGR, another stock that's set up for a big short opportunity back to the downside. You want to keep an eye on how IONQ sets up for a beautiful short too. Previously, the stock has gapped up. Eventually, it dries up and pulls right back to the downside, setting up for a monster intra-day swing short opportunity. Sorry, intraday short opportunity, but also sets up for a monster swing short opportunity also for people who are watching this name very carefully. So looking for it. I'm just not sure if it's setting up today, tomorrow, or the other day. Whenever it does, I'll be ready to pull the trigger. For now, I'm not really looking to get extra long on this name. I feel like it's overextended. DJT, not something that I'm trading at the moment, just something that I'm tracking because I'm watching Funware. Funware also had a negative catalyst today. Funware had a catalyst that their CEO dropped out. CEO leaving the company. I guess he wasn't having fun at Funware. So Funware dropping today 40% off that catalyst. Big move down. Now basically any pops, looking for any pops to get rejected. Today's VWAP is $11. I'd like to see if $11 comes into play on PHUN. If it does, we can potentially get some shorts. Looking to short pops on PHUN all day tomorrow. The higher the stock goes in pre-market and the higher the stock opens into the day tomorrow, above today's low, the more I want to be short on that name for a move into today's low on that stock. So PHUN, very high priority on the board tomorrow. Very high priority. We might need to add like new colors as priority lists because they're all the same colors at the moment. UAL, it did reject 75 today, but it also closed pretty bullish. It did reject the 75 breakout today, but also closed fairly bullish. So potentially keeping an eye on it. It really needs to find buying above 75. So right now 75.50 is that level because we did get above 75 slightly. So you need to show me buying above 75 and get through 75.50 for me to be interested for the long. Otherwise, potentially could look for a short, but at the moment, way more stocks, way more interesting stocks to keep an eye on. Nvidia slowing down today on its momentum as most of the money was being poured into Tesla. But if Nvidia, the giant, wakes up again, we'll have some fun with it. The semiconductor sector just cooling off. Semiconductor sector has been one of the most hottest sectors in quite some long time now. So semiconductor sector cooling off. Some other sectors have picked up. Small cap sectors have been heating up quite a bit. You know, lots of small cap stocks have been moving around recently. Shout out to what's it, Flash Research, who've been helping me with the, you know, all the necessary research behind small cap stocks. That way I can really trade small cap stocks the way that I've never traded small cap stocks before. I'm having so much confidence in trading these small cap stocks now after having this research backed up for me. It's crazy. It's like, why doesn't everyone use this software at this point is what I'm thinking. So hey, if you want to trade small caps, I feel like you need to have this data to back you up in your trades. Without that data, you're just shooting in the dark. You're just in the shadow realm trading these small cap stocks. That amount of data is crazy. It's good to know. Micron, not really something I care about at the moment. Small caps, sorry, semiconductor sector, just not something I'm interested in at the moment as a day trade, unless Nvidia really wakes up tomorrow. CPRI breaking down drastically as a judge comes in and blocks the buyout merger deal. So CPRI going down quite hard. There could be some sort of a retracement long tomorrow. I mean, look, just because the deal fell apart doesn't mean the company is now no longer valuable. It could potentially be still valuable around the same price of $40-50. But, you know, just because the deal fell apart, all of a sudden now it's worth... Oh, holy shit, it fell lower than that range. It fell way lower than the 52-week low. 52-week low is $29.28. Stock went down to $22. Holy shit. That's insane. Okay, there is very good trade here potentially setting up as we gap close tomorrow. I'm expecting a gap close tomorrow on this name. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. But if this is how the stock's playing out right now, then I'm expecting a gap close. But if the stock is doing something like this, then obviously no gap close coming into play at all. So I'm expecting pre-market, we kind of, you know, wiggle around here, get above a little bit in the pre-market, 930's coming, and then we test this area, and then we just rip to the north side. That is my guess. And then the stock kind of hangs out somewhere in this range over here to end the day. That's not even ending the day. That's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock right there. So this is potentially what's going to happen in pre-market. But I could also see something like this happening, and then you get a long from this after hour low. But that's insane. That's not like the company's value is now all the way gone to zero, right? So that's a monster sell-off opportunity on a deal falling apart. Let's actually go take a look at some of our resources here. Alpha Rank, we already have it open. Alpha Rank. Let's head over to Alpha Rank. Open up CP refresh page. Fresh. CPRI. What happened? Definitive agreement. Oh. So, April 2024, FTC sued to block the merger. Fell 50% after hours on trading news that judge blocked this merger deal with Tapestry. So now the deal is completely closed, I guess. Is that what happened? So now the deal is completely done. Completely shut down, canceled, will not go through at all. Tapestry will have 5% of the global goods market behind Chanel if they merged, and they did not though. They did not merge, so they will not have the combined value share of 5%. Chanel, LVMH, the big conglomerate LVMH, they never stopped them from mixing together, right? Okay. So, but they just came and put a block on this deal over here. Poor CPRI. Coming in and blocking the deal for these guys. Friendly merger, definitive agreement, deal was looking to go through. Consideration price was actually $57. Stock was trading at 40 some odd dollars, and all of a sudden now it's trading at freaking 22. Come on, that is insane. I am looking for a long on CPRI tomorrow. Some sort of a relief long, kind of the same idea as COUR. It fell down too much, too quick, too fast. So we're gonna look for a relief rally long. But if the price action does not match our theory, then you're gonna have to back off fairly quickly back off from the theory. For now, 24 under over. 24 is a resistance in the after hours. Hopefully we get above 24 in the pre-market and use 24 as support in the pre-market, at which point any pullbacks into 24 or the higher we stay above 24, for example a breakout at 25 could even be set up, that comes into play. The stock is trading from 24 to 25. It breaks out at 25, then it runs up to 27.50. It runs up to $29. I can see that setup coming into play. This is just crazy. There's going to be buyers coming in and snagging up some shares, because if this company was previously worth $57, they're gonna love the fact that they can get $12. A lot of people who already took a loss on it, though, they're not too happy after that deal fell apart. That judge blocking that deal has burnt a lot of hedge funds. A lot of hedge funds who trade mergers and acquisitions, they all got burnt on that judge deal. That's so sad. That's so sad. All right, I think that's basically all she wrote for tonight's stream. Nothing in the large cap sector other than Tesla really matters to me. You could talk about Meta, Microsoft, Apple, blah, 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 all day you want. But no, none of these excite me at all other than Tesla. Tesla is your king tomorrow. Tesla will be your king for possibly the next few days with the amount of activity that it set up today. What was the volume on Tesla actually? It was 204 million, so nothing too drastic on it, but much better than what it has been doing for the last few days, right? Much better than what it has been doing the last few days. So shout out to the giant that has now woken up, and can we see some extended running up action on Tesla? Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We love seeing it. Today's IPO was pretty boring to trade. I did trade it. It was pretty boring. I made some money on it, but I wanted it to do more than it did. It just didn't do much. Actually, let's go see if I'm wrong. INGM. Yeah, it didn't do much. Boring. So do we have another IPO tomorrow? Pretty sure we don't. Nope, no IPO. Oh, come on, we do. Small IPO. SEPN. Oh, do I even care? I don't think I care about this IPO at all. I'll be honest with you. I don't see anything exciting about this IPO. If it moves after it opens, maybe I'll keep an eye on it. But right now, at a quick glance, nothing really too exciting about it. That was the one we were talking about for today. And that is basically the IPO calendar. So nothing on the IPO calendar. Let's quickly head over to the economic calendar, see if there's anything on the econ calendar to potentially keep an eye out for. Durable goods, Michigan sentiment numbers, Atlanta GDP number, commodity numbers, Fed call-in. Looks like a fairly dead econ calendar. We do have a 3-star event. Durable good orders month over month is gonna come in. Besides that, nothing really that I see might shake things up on the market. So I think it's just status quo. Is that what they say? It's just going to be business as usual. Business as usual on the market. Just keep watching for the names that are moving around, stocks that have volatility, RVOL, catalyst. They actually have a news for them to move around and a reason for you to keep an eye on them. Focus on them because those will be the one to make money on. For example, some of the names that we talked about from today's watch list: Western Digital, COUR, Tesla, any of the the nuclear energy name, CPRIPHUN. So we got quite a bunch of names to get ready for tomorrow, even if the market does absolute zilch. And that is why I love trading equities market. If you are just a futures trader and just the QQQ S&P 500 futures or just the ETFs trader, sometimes you get nothing to do out of the market. The market just chops around in boring ranges. Those markets are way too efficient. But you know what's not efficient? The overall stocks themselves. These stocks sometimes get moved drastically off of earnings reports. There's always Chinese scams and other scams happening in the stock market that make stocks go absolutely crazy in the small cap market. So there's opportunities throughout the day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the market, and that is where we take advantage as day traders. So let's learn the market, let's master it, and make this money. At the moment, I'm getting pretty decently good at small cap, I feel like, thanks to the help of Flash Research. So this episode was brought to you by Flash Research. The link for Flash Research, actually, I'll post it right now in the chat one more time. Please go check them out. Open up a Flash Research account, and you will thank me, especially if you trade small cap. That is it for your boy TraderPrad. I'll catch you guys Monday. No Sunday stream. I'm out. Peace. Good night. Good luck tomorrow. Here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.